अगला स्टेशन नाला छिपाड़ा। नहीं हम ये भी ले
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first day of the workshop, Outcome-Based Education, organized by Academic Improvement Committee in association with IQAC of Royal College of Arts Sciences. This workshop aspires to equip educators to understand and adopt outcome-based education, which strives to facilitate standard of subject proficiency for all the students. I hope the workshop would challenge each of us to adapt a new outlook to learning, framing of program and outcome objectives, the delivery and the assessment process. This all will be discussed in this workshop. The first 3 days of the workshops are 27, 28, and 29. The fourth session will be announced at the end of the third day. On this note, I request the Vice Principal and the IQAC Coordinator, Professor Malika Butwala, to speak briefly about our college and welcome our guest lecture. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Seema. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Royal College and as IQAC Coordinator, I extend a very warm welcome to our guest speakers, Dr. Sybil Thomas from Department of Education, University of Mumbai, and Dr. Vivian Amunkar, retired Head of Department of Microbiology from St. Xavier's College. And of course, a warm welcome to all the participants from our own college as well as from other colleges. This idea of workshop has been a result of the need to emphasize the impact of properly enunciated the learning outcomes and their alignments to the objectives and assessment methods on the teaching learning process. I'm sure after attending the workshop, we will be better equipped to do the same, since we have with us two knowledgeable and learned resource persons with us. With best of luck to all of us, I request Dr. Chitralekha to introduce our guest of the day. Over to Dr. Chitralekha.
Evening to all. I have this pleasant task of introducing the resource person to our participants today. I hope I'm able to do justice because the list of accomplishments is very long, but I hope I'm able to do justice in the short time that is allotted to me for the introduction. Dr. Sybil George, I start with her education. She completed her BSc from Elphinstone College in the year 1992, followed by bachelor's and master's degree in education from the Bombay Teachers Training College and University Department of Education. She qualified for the state level eligibility test, the SET examination in the year 1995, followed by a master's degree in literature in 1998. Madam acquired her PhD degree in education in the year 2005. As far as her professional career is concerned, Dr. Sybil started as a teacher at the Walsingham School, Mumbai, followed by a stint as a lecturer at the Bombay Teachers Training College and the KJ Somaiya College of Education. She joined the Mumbai University's Department of Education in the year 2009 and has been there since then. And currently she is professor at the Department of Education, University of Mumbai. In between, in the year 2014 to 16, Madam served as the principal of St. Xavier's Institute of Education. Dr. Sybil is a recognized PhD guide. She has guided 18 PhD students and 10 MPhil students for their degrees. She is currently guiding 6 PhD students. Her research projects have funding from the UGC and the Azim Premji University Funding Agency. Dr. Sybil has published 38 publications in various national and international publications and has published around 3 books. As far as various academic committees are concerned, I will just list out a few of the committees. Madam is a member of the IQAC of the University of Mumbai. She is the main contact person and the coordinator of the state eligibility test for examination, the SET examination of University of Mumbai. The academic council member of HJ College of Education, KJ Somaiya College. She has been actively involved in the preparation of resource materials, including e-content, development of reading material for universities within the country and international universities. Dr. Sybil has also been the member of Syllabus Revision Committee for B.Ed, M.Ed, M.Ed syllabus, as well as the National Eligibility Test examination, not only at the university level, but at several universities outside Mumbai. She has been the resource person at various such conferences, including one such conference that one of my colleagues had attended was the outcome-based education. And we felt that Dr. Sybil would be the right person to guide us for this particular session, where we would be learning about the framing of program objectives, course objectives, and later on we'll be seeing the assessment part. On behalf of all of us over here, Madam, I welcome you once again to this session and thank you for accepting our invitation and for being here with us today. I hope the time given is sufficient for this particular session that we are going to conduct today. And without wasting much time, I will hand over the session to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chitra, and thank you to the principal, to your academic planning committee, as well as your IQAC for having me here and looking for. Yeah. Is there something, or do I continue?
Ma'am, please continue, ma'am.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay, sir. So I said thank you for having me here, and I'm looking forward to, along with you, to be able to discover, to see, and to learn different aspects of this whole concept of outcome-based education. Okay, so in our whole search for, I'm sure that you all are aware about what then is outcome-based education. Yeah, and I would quickly like to ask you all, before we proceed, to put down your thoughts on what is outcome-based education. So can I ask you all to quickly put down your thoughts in the chat? And one thing I would want to make clear, that this wouldn't be possible without constant discussion and feedback from you. So quickly, if you could put that down, I promise I would end in time. but I would want to hear and interact constantly. Yes. So what is your idea and what did you hear about outcome-based so far? When you hear the word outcome-based, what are the other words that come to your mind? Yes, I can see some chats have come in. Let me just check. No, not yet. Okay, so what does come to your mind? Okay, it's about objectives. It's about where levels at which learners reach. Very good. It's about meeting goals. Yes, Delphi, expected learning. Great. Then it's objectives, kinds of levels which students need to learn, fruitful education. Okay, good. Some more. I can see we have 48 of us. So 47, and I would expect at least 40 responses. It's about students' level of learning. Okay, what more? Quick, quick, quick. Quick, quick, quick. Expected exploratory method of learning. Okay, what more? What more? Achieving targets. Okay, skills that students need to develop. Okay, I think that's a great beginning. Those of you, yes. Yes. Okay, Zamana, Dr. Meera. Okay, that's great. And as we quickly proceed, I would like to now move quickly on. And we would look at these quickly in the next 2-3 minutes as to what do we understand by this. Why am I saying it? Because this is the basis of all your assessment. It's the basis on which you are going to write and why you are going to write and why is this a quality initiative. Okay. So let's remember one thing, that summarizing all that you all have said, there are 4 things that the outcome-based education focuses on. One,
हो,
it's
माझं
all
आणि
about
कॉलेजमध्ये हे पण चालू आहे. आमच्यासाठी एक लेक्चर आहे बाहेरच्या मॅडम ऑनलाईन. हो, हो, मग ते
can you
कम्प्युटर
silence or
Delphine Miss, can you mute yourself?
okay, I think I can mute her. It was Delphine, correct? Delphine Miss? Yeah, I've muted her. Okay, so it's all about, it focuses on, remember one thing, it is, yes, what you said is right. It's about which level students are going to reach. It's about targets, it's about objectives, but we cannot talk about targets, objectives, and levels of students without us talking about appropriate instruction and pedagogy. Okay, so it is about how we are going to teach. It's about how we are going to drive the teaching learning process through our different methodologies. It is about organizing this whole teaching learning process towards or around career advancement. Okay, so career advancement of whom? Career advancement of our students. It is so therefore what I do in my class as a teacher every day in order to reach that particular level, or in order student will reach, provided I am able to charter or guide or make sure the student learning process takes place in that way. It is also about organizing teaching learning processes to the around career advancements of the students, because we are not talking now today, our objectives are not about whether students have learned and repeated and able to explain etc alone, but even our indicator of our success is whether the students are able to move ahead in their careers because of you. Because of that 3 years interaction that they have had with you, are they able to move ahead in their careers and make a substantial development in their careers? And it is about that. It is about selecting assessment modes, and that's where rightly we are going to spend. You're going to have 2 days tomorrow and day after about all about how are you going to do these assessments and select these different assessment modes in order for us to reach. It is also about programs awarded. So outcome based, now our focus is whether you are going to award a program based on something that the students can do. Okay, whether what they are doing, their demonstrated achievement, which when is visible, we are then going to be able to give them, okay, because they are able to do this, okay, they are eligible to have this particular kind of a degree. So therefore, we are defining exit outcomes. Remember, now onwards, we are going to define exit outcomes. We are going to make sure that if we have these exit outcomes, that means by the time the student leaves us in 3 or 4 3 years time, because they are going to leave us there, they are going to develop high engagement activities, because we believe that it is through engagement students are going to display certain outcomes. If we are going to engage, it's not when we are going to speak, see the difference, but we are going to constantly engage them with high activities, then only they are able to do. And therefore, we are encouraging learning by performing. Okay, it is all about learning by performing. And so what are we going to do now? I am going to, in a short while from now, I have already given you some idea about what this outcome-based is about. So it's about your teaching learning, it's about your assessment, it's about setting such kind of targets that students move on in their careers. It is about developing engagement in the classroom. It is about developing assessments in alignment with that. So we're going to look at, so that is if this is the meaning of outcome-based, we'll begin by understanding certain terms. Okay, then we will look at the taxonomy of learning. We will then look at writing of program educational outcomes, program learning outcomes, and how we are going to relate our educational outcomes, objectives to the outcomes. Now remember here, there is a difference in the words. Take note, there is a difference between using the word objective and there is the next word that we are using is outcome. And so we are going to differentiate between this objective and their outcome. And they have to be, though they are different, they are related. And therefore, we are going to now look at these relationships. Then we're going to look at what are course learning outcomes and how do we relate these course learning outcomes to our program learning outcomes. Okay, so these are some things that we are going to explore together. And then after we relate it, probably I will not go into the detail of this, but hopefully give you an exercise that you can complete and see at your end, and before which, and give you a glimpse into this whole mapping process. Okay, maybe we will take up mapping detail a little later. Let's see how the time goes. But I would want at least to end by you looking at what this map looks like. Okay, how does this look? And for that, I am basing this entire lectures on this whole talk on these 3 important documents of UGC. Learning outcome-based curriculum, quality mandate for higher education, and evaluation reforms. And so Vivian ma'am also is going to look at this and base our lectures on these 3 important documents. And of course, your CBCS document also that is coming out is also based on some of these. So let's begin. Okay, so we are going to look at, we saw some briefly about the meaning of outcome-based. We are going to look at the important terms. We are looking at the taxonomy, and then we are going to look at how we are going to write these and we are going to discuss. So remember, friends, it is not about, outcome is not about grades, labels, and percentage alone. So if it is not about grades, labels, and percentage, what is it about? What is your thoughts on that? What is it about if it's not about this? Yes? So if it's not, when we are saying outcomes are not about how many A, B, C grade students you got, whether you got 50%, 80%, 90% alone. So what is this then we are talking about? Outcomes are about what?
All the skills.
Yeah? Can you put it in your chat? Any thoughts on that? It's about expertise, okay? It's about learning and understanding if the student has learned, okay, it's about skills, nurturing a spirit of inquiry. Oh, you've got great answers here. Okay, go on. And therefore, friends, we look at, therefore, it is about the process and the actions. So we are going to concentrate, therefore, on the process of setting these outcomes and reaching the outcomes, and the process of seeing whether we reach the outcomes. And that's what the assessment is about. Okay, so it's about processes and it's about actions of the teaching learning process. And therefore, it is about now. I am going to want to discuss with you this. So when you talk about outcomes, remember you have to talk about outcomes because it is in outcomes, it is about achievement and it is about accessibility. Therefore, when we are why we are saying accessibility is because you have to have diverse outcomes so that different types of learners are able to exhibit their learning in different forms. So the moment you relate outcomes only to a certain domain, you are restricting learning only to certain kinds of learners. And you will agree with me that you have different intelligence learners as well. Yes? Yes or no? Learners with
Yes.
multiple intelligences, different kinds of intelligences that you have. And each type of these intelligences have to also reach somewhere or be able to show that learning has taken place. Therefore, our request is always keep that spectrum and that band broad. Do not assess only in terms of whether they are able to solve, recall, etc., but have the kind of outcomes as broad as possible so that every student finds a place. Every student finds a way of displaying learning. It's about transparency and fairness, because if you have your outcomes written in advance, your learner also knows what to expect by the end of the course or the program. So in the beginning itself, if you're telling them, if you are coming to Royal College for a BCom program or a BA program or a BSc program, we promise you at the end of it, you will be able to do this, 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 this. Okay, it's our assurance to the students. So they also know where we are taking them and they know where they should be also reaching. It's about being result oriented. It's about describing significant learnings. Okay, the different kinds of learnings, and we are able to describe those different kinds of learnings and reflecting it to the complexity of life. So we are giving prominence to learners' lives. Learning is succeeding, but not in the same way and not in the same day. Therefore, multiple kinds of assessments, multiple ways in which you demonstrate learning, and you control the situation on learning, and therefore you are accountable to learners, teachers, employers, public, and also it calls for a change in education. So the curriculum, you may say you are not yet an autonomous college. Syllabi comes from university, but curriculum is in your hand and my hand. Agreed? Yes? Are we not curriculum constructors? Yes, so we cannot say that क्या करूं, यूनिवर्सिटी ने ऐसा भेजा है, हम लोग कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं, because it is up to you and I how to give life to that syllabus, and syllabus is a small portion of curriculum. Curriculum is all about the experience that you give your learners through syllabus as one of the ways. Am I clear? Syllabus is one of the ways in which you are giving an experience to the learner, but the experiences go beyond that syllabus content as well. And that's what makes Royal College different than any other college, or that should make Royal College different than any other college in Mumbai. It is the way in which you and I are able to give kind of experience to the learners, which will make us unique and which will make us different. Okay, and therefore, after learning this, you will realize that even your teaching learning has to change. Not only assessment, but teaching learning also has to change. Okay, therefore, it's about content now. I would expect, or anyone would expect, it is easy to write outcomes once you have mastery over the content. If you know your content well, you will realize it is easy to write the outcomes. Okay, so it's about contents, it's about teaching learning strategies, and it's about assessment in outcome-based education. Now, I'm going to pause for 1 minute, 60 seconds. And you are going to just read and reread this slide. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, done? Have you all gone through? Okay. What do you think this downward arrow indicates? Let's begin from the left-hand side. Unmute yourself and feel free to answer. What do you think this downward arrow indicates? Yes?
Increase in learning levels.
Increase in learning levels. Okay, yes. Somebody else, why do you think increase in learning levels? Why do you think she said that?
Because each part is leading to the other. It's like a process which we are apprising.
Okay, so who was the one who began by saying increasing learning levels?
Juliet Miranda, ma'am.
Thank you, Juliet, madam. And who was the second one?
This is Sanchita here, ma'am.
Sanchita, thank you so much. That was a very nice answer. Next, somebody else. What else do you say? That was Juliet, Sanchita. Now we want to hear from others. What are your thoughts? Vinod, sir.
It shows the order of learning or higher order of learning.
Okay, it shows a higher order of learning, or it shows moving from lower order to higher order.
Lower order to higher order.
Great. Okay. Now, did you see or notice some words that appear in the lower order also and higher order also? Same word.
Yes, appraise. Appraise is there.
Okay.
And classify and choose also can go together.
Yes, they are in different levels, correct?
Yes, but you can, yes.
Okay. Then now my question is, then how to differentiate then? It is there in lower also and higher order. So what do we do? ऐसा कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं क्या हम लोग?
Maybe it's the context in which it is used.
Correct. Okay, who's that?
Juliet again.
Juliet, okay. Okay, the rest also, I want to hear the voice also. Thank you, but Juliet, for coming in. Next, somebody else. What about Malika Butwala, madam? What about Asiya?
I just spoke.
Acha, you spoke. Okay, okay.
Classified appraise, I only said.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Rita, madam. Hina, madam. Dr. Mustaqim Mohammed. Tulika, madam. What do you think so? She said the context. Now, what is this context? Kamlesh, madam. What is this context we are talking about? So I can use this, Royal College has arts, right?
Yes, all three.
All arts, science and commerce. Now, what is the kind of verbs that we are using here? Why do we say they're action verbs? Why action verbs? Yes.
Because it has to be achieved, implemented, put to use.
Okay. Okay. It has to be achieved, implemented, put to use. So now these verbs are going to show what?
They're going to tell us about how much the student can, at which level can apply his knowledge.
Okay. Yes. So we will use the, yeah, somebody else was saying.
It shows the skill of the student when we say appraise, argue, defend. The ability of the student to appraise and maybe argue or defend a particular situation.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
action was because we can measure then. Once
Yes.
we look at the action, we can measure, compare.
Perfectly right. Action is because remember we said outcome based is about rightly what you said. Outcome based is about demonstrated learning. Means what they can show as learning. So if you say, I have understood, madam, what is the meaning of POCO, पर मैं आपको बोल नहीं सकती हूँ कि मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल नहीं दे सकती हूँ, फिर वो लर्निंग नहीं है. You have to show some way that learning has taken place. So either you should be able to define, you should be able to classify, or you should be able to contrast, or you should be able to examine, or you should be able to, write a question, or you should be able to, recognize. So any learning now on is learning provided it is demonstrated or shown. इन डे टू डे लैंग्वेज मीन्स उन लोग हमें दिखा सकते हैं कि उन लोग के व्यवहार, कौन सा व्यवहार में, इन देयर कॉग्निटिव बिहेवियर, इन देयर मेंटल थिंकिंग, दे हैव चेंज्ड. And how do I know they have changed? They should be able to do some things. What should they be able to do? These are some of the verbs that we are giving you as example. Now, remember, I also told you in the beginning that your band has to be wide. Okay, this band being wide means you cannot only say from my particular course, which I am teaching, I will have all outcomes only related to the higher order. What's wrong in saying that? Such a good teacher I am, no? Because I have everything in the higher order, but I am saying it's not possible.
Because ma'am, when we are trying to ensure that they get all these things or that they are able to achieve these outcomes, each one of them, it's like a popcorn. Each corn is going to pop at a different point of time. So
correct, very right. Komal,
so everyone
madam, right?
may not. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, very nicely said. So as she said, it's like I like this comparison. She said it's like a popcorn. Okay, everyone will pop at different time. So even your learner will show different levels at different times. How many of you all in the arts classroom? How many are there? What is the student intake per division for classes in arts? How many students do you all have?
About 120 now in the first year.
In one division, no? Or one class will be around 150?
In first year, about 120, ma'am.
120, okay. So all 120 will reach different levels in their learning. Correct? Do you agree with me? All of them may not reach though we are planning higher order for them, but some of them may show at this point of time some learnings which are of the lower order. So we keep a balance between this higher and the lower, but nevertheless, we are trying to reach many of them to the higher order. We don't stop thinking क्योंकि अपना बच्चा कर नहीं पाते हैं, ऐसा कभी नहीं करते हैं ना. We always try to put the higher order, but in the you will see in your planning for assessment and teaching learning, you will also plan for certain kinds of lower order questions. Yeah, because the students should be able, every student will show differently. Even the best of student for a particular point of time may sometimes not be able to show higher level. That's why we said every student succeeds not necessarily in the same way and on the same day. Same day refers to multiple assessments. Same way refers to a wide spectrum of outcomes that we experience. Now, look at this again, at these verbs. You said, and you rightly somebody had told that you can use the same verb, but it depends in the context. For example, you are able to give examples. If you repeat the same examples that were taught to you in the classroom, then we will say that is a lower order learning outcome. But if you are giving examples that were not, like by applying it into new novel situations and then being able to draw relationships and give new examples, it will go to a higher order. Is it clear? Writing as a skill, you may be able to write a definition, will be a very lower order objective. But when you are able to write and devise a procedure, use the same verb, but it can be yet a higher order thing. Is it clear to you, this difference between lower order and higher order and how contexts differ? Yes, Zamanat?
Yes.
Asia, Malika? Yes, can I move ahead?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, clear. Great. So now some of these words, you know what they belong to. Did you take snapshot? Did you do what you want? But in your mind, at least 3-4 tags laga diya apne pe. Okay, I know if I'm saying remembering, these are some of the verbs. If I'm saying analyzing, these are some of the verbs. Yes? Something you have put a note of, I'm sure. So Ganesh sir has written yes to me for this, correct? That you will be able now to use these verbs for me, including create and assemble and design. Yeah? Now, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you have said yes, I am going to ask you to use any one of these verbs to show a student behavior. For example, the students are able to state the first, at the end of my course, they are able to state the different action verbs. I have written an outcome. Okay. The students are able to state the different action verbs to show learning. Now, can you use any verb and put your content at the end and write one?
Differentiate between prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms.
Very good. Who is that?
Zamanat.
Zamanat. I am so delighted, Zamanat. Thank you. Next. Next. Somebody else, take a try. They analyze pedigree. Okay, Delphine. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Akila, distinguish between what, beta? Dr. Akila? Distinguish between, put something as something. At the end of your course, they're able to do that. Right, from evaluating and creating. Somebody unmute and give me something for evaluating and creating. Yes, students analyze the mass media. Okay, next. Anything else?
Students can design an experiment or designing
Very
of
good.
an experiment.
Yes, perfectly right. Designing an experiment, develop a procedure for an experiment. Very good. Then assemble. Do you have IT and all courses?
Computer science is there.
Computer science, yes. So what about defend the theory of revolution? Very nice, Ravindranath sir. Then come on. They are, okay, design a circuit to control current in a circuit. Very good. Nandini madam, excellent. Okay. Construct chemical cell using different electrodes. Excellent. Okay. Examine and criticize theories of international relationship. Sarah madam, excellent. Okay. Traditional and strategic market, differentiate. Dr. Sanchita. Thank you. Okay, so now look, this is all about writing course objectives, which are so exciting to see you being able to pick up. Okay. Now let's go to these words that we need to get clarity on. First, program. Okay, so what is a program? A program is a specialization or a discipline or a degree. From now on, any degree that we are offering is the program. Okay, so that is a specialization. Next, it is interconnected arrangement of courses. So for getting a program, we will have different courses that make up a program. And this program has to accomplish predetermined objectives. So let's look at it. Example. Okay, and finally, we'll award a degree for that. Example of a program, BSc IT, BSc Zoology. Now you all keep typing the programs you come from. Type or unmute, one of the two. Which is the other programs you all come from? BCom, okay, good. BSc Physics, good. BSc Chemistry, BSc Physics, what more? BMS and BAF, BA Economics, good. BSc Computer Science, BCom, yes. What is BA MMC? What is that, Shabaz madam? Shabaz madam also, I'm not sure. What is that? BA in what, Nitin sir? BA Sociology, BA what? BA Psychology, MA Economics, great. Political Science, BA or this. Okay, so these are now on, we are calling them as programs. Now, these programs have to have some objectives. Okay, because they are a BA Sociology or because they are an MA Economics from your college, what do you think you want to achieve through that MA Economics program? Okay, Bachelor of Arts in Multimedia Mass Communication. Okay, just give me a minute. This is from the university and I need to take this. Sorry for that. Okay. So Bachelor in Arts, Multimedia, Mass Communication. Okay. So now we have certain objectives that we want. And a student of or we are doing a bachelor in mass media, a student doing in political science, a student doing in microbiology, a student doing in psychology, you all have at Royal College some common things that that student would be, you would want to achieve for that student. And yet there are different things that you want to. Okay, so let's look at this. The what we want to achieve through the program is an objective. That is, it shows you expected achievements of the graduates in their career, in the sense, because they are doing a BA sociology or a political science, they are able to differentiate between international and national, whatever, dash, dash, dash. Okay, because they are doing they think we are now not going into smaller details, but we are, because it's an objective is what they are expected behaviors that we want. Okay, especially because of 3 years being with us, therefore it says after graduation. So it's all about the 3 years that they are with us. Okay, and it is then about these we would term as mastery objectives. For example, they will closely align with graduate attributes. So you must be aware that UGC has given us for undergraduate and based on arts, science and commerce, and even this mass media, etc. They have given certain attributes that the graduate needs to have. Now we are going to choose some of these attributes from the given attributes that they have based on the vision and mission of our institute. Let's look at this. So you have a vision and mission for your institute. You have expectations of parents, teachers, society, stakeholders. You have regulatory bodies, for example, AICTE. You have, for in teacher education, we have National Council for Teacher Education. You would have probably the Bar Association for law people. Okay, so you have certain bodies that have laid up certain standards. You have your institutional goals, your vision, mission. All this will contribute to to the objectives. Now remember, your objectives are 15 in numbers. What is given, you can choose 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever you want. But I would suggest don't choose less than 8, 9. Reason at the time of mapping, I will tell you. Because if you restrict it, no, then your mapping to show what is the right range of you have reached becomes very difficult. So try and now look at some of these attributes. The first thing, irrespective of the discipline you come from, it is they should have that disciplinary knowledge. For science people, you should have show, display, or have the necessary disciplinary knowledge of science and technology. Okay, for arts, you should have the knowledge of the what do you say, of linguistics, the style of writing, etc. These are your primary focus in languages. In psychology, you would have to have a good knowledge base on human behavior. For political science, you would need to have a good knowledge base on relationships, on power, etc., etc. So disciplinary knowledge is a must, irrespective of the kind of disciplines you come from. So first objective, always have it related to the disciplinary knowledge. Second, you will have probably now you want to think now the order is yours from now. You want to put communication skills, you can put. These are the list given by UGC. So every graduate we should aim at giving them disciplinary knowledge. We should give them ability of communicating. Communicating what? Again, here their thoughts effectively, either writing or through orally. Either you help them writing through their academic activities, orally through your group presentations, etc. Critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning. Are you with me? Am I with you? Or am I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
no? Okay.
Yes.
So these are some examples: scientific thinking. Now, scientific reasoning. Do you think arts people should not take this as an objective? Scientific reasoning?
They can take.
They can take, they should take also.
Yes.
Why? Because thinking is a scientific thinking is a process that is a characteristic of any student or any individual, especially in the knowledge discovery domain or contributing to knowledge domain. And now with research as an emphasis, scientific reasoning could be considered. Reflective thinking, information digital skills, self-directed learning capabilities, multicultural competencies, research-related cooperation and teamwork, moral ethical reasoning, leadership, lifelong learning. These are all related to objectives. So you are going to write your objectives for the programs you are taking from these examples that we have provided. Was every screen long enough for you to see? Multicultural competence as well. Science students as well needs to be focusing on this. Yeah, so you've got an idea into all these 15? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now when I'm writing objectives, I'm writing in these terms. That means my students are able, at the end of the 3-year program, they develop the ability for ethical and moral reasoning, whereby they apply it for developing arguments in the field of political science. Okay, we could put it, they develop moral and ethical reasoning or awareness for taking positions and roles in society, for languages. Okay, to take their own positions for different ethical dilemmas that are in the field of science and technology. They develop leadership qualities for being able to dash, dash, dash. They are able to develop the skill of lifelong learning. How do you do that skill of lifelong learning? By helping them to be learners through your assignments, self-reflective. Yes, somebody was saying something. Yes, somebody was saying. Okay, give me an example of how you can develop in them cooperation and teamwork. How do you do that? And tell the discipline from where you're coming and how could this be done.
By allowing them to perform some project work together.
Okay,
in
yes.
Science. Yeah.
Yes. So you can have this as an objective of cooperation and teamwork for their particular program. In the 3 years, there will be opportunities for them, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next, anybody else? Anybody else?
By creating safe spaces to share their ideas.
Okay. Yes, to share their ideas. Then give me an example of multicultural competence. This you'll have to think little, but you need it. Okay, multicultural. Sciences, life sciences, microbiology, etc. also, wouldn't they be able to develop and engage in multicultural societies, interact with diverse groups, etc.? Wouldn't that be also one of your objectives? Anybody else would want to comment on that? Okay, now from these, I'm asking you to pick out some things that match Royal College's vision and mission quickly. Which are some of these attributes that are close to the heart of Royal College's vision and mission?
Multicultural competence.
Areva, very good. Thank you. Nice. Next.
Moral and ethical awareness.
Okay, great. Next. That is there in the vision and mission statements. Yeah.
Yes.
What else? Only 2 responses. Rest of you have gone to sleep. Dr. Akila has written scientific temperament. Okay. Thank you.
Leadership.
Leadership is there in
Moral values.
Moral values is there. Okay. So now, friends, you've seen, based on this, you will be able to write your objectives for the course. Correct? Yes? For your program. Remember, we are writing program objectives. That means all 3 years, all courses combined. Okay, objectives are what we want to achieve for the program, means therefore for 3 years over different kinds of courses and even co-curricular and curricular programs. It need not be only through the classroom activities. You all must be having some college fest. You must be having some NSS activities. You must be having some social outreach programs unique to Royal College. All of them will contribute to objectives reaching. Is it clear? Yeah.
Just one thing, madam.
Yeah.
All of these objectives seem relevant to almost all the programs.
Yeah.
So can they be common to all?
Common, but we'll have to end with that particular, see, moral and ethical reasoning. Then you'll have to specify for your field. So some colleges, I'm told, they decide common and then they tell that particular, like BSc life science, to modify for the life science context. In the sense is, you know, we'll have to end with that particular area.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Thank you.
Some do it common, some do. So that will depend on whatever you all find it easy. Yeah. Okay. Can I move ahead next?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. So now we have come to that. We are now moving to this. So we have finished program objectives based on this. Now I'm moving to outcomes. Now remember here the difference. Here it is what the students are expected to be able to do. That means here is those demonstrated outcomes from that taxonomy of Benjamin Bloom's. Remember that taxonomy I gave you? Yes?
Yes.
What was the first level?
Remembering.
No.
Very good. Remembering or
Remembering. Understand.
And then last level down, highest level?
Create.
Great. Okay, that is called as Bloom's taxonomy. So from there, we will pick up words to what they should do in that specific discipline for outcomes. So objectives is by the end of the graduation, they are able to develop, they are able to acquire, they are able to demonstrate. Now look here. These words are different from these verbs now that I am coming to an outcome. An outcome is about what the students can do, which is seen. Now, they developed understanding is not something that can be seen and measured. In the sense, it is an objective verb. It's not an active action verb. It is a verb, but it's not an action verb. Can you understand the difference? To understand, you should use for an outcome of an understand would be to compare, to explain, to differentiate. Is it clear? They acquire knowledge of is an objective, but when it is an outcome, they define, they state. Okay, they give example. These are the verbs that I use for remembering. Okay.
Apply, they can apply.
They can apply.
Application.
Yes, yes. So when I'm writing outcomes, I am writing outcomes based on those verbs, action verbs. Clear? So it is related to what do you want the learners to do, what do you want them to think, value, care about, and what you want them to do. Again, I'm displaying this. So outcomes are written from this. So in an objective, if you said that you have developed, they develop a strong knowledge base, then you choose the action verbs. If you say they are able to apply their knowledge in the objective, then in an outcome, you will have active verbs from here, action verbs. Okay. Now we are coming to a course. What is a course? Course is nothing but a theory practical subject that we are teaching. It is studied in one semester. Example, industrial psychology or analytical chemistry is a course. Okay, this is a course. Give me an example of the courses you are teaching in the chat, please, or unmute.
Calculus.
Calculus, correct.
Microbiology.
Pardon? Microbiology. In microbiology.
Microbiology.
Industrial. Okay. Yes, great. Some more.
Organic
Physical chemistry, urban sociology. Excellent. So these are called as courses. Okay. Now, these courses also have outcomes. Okay. These courses also have outcomes. So it describes significant essential learning achieved. It demonstrates at what they are able to demonstrate at the end of the course. And it is based on the weightage that we give to each course. Now, this was an example of objectives and, that people have. And therefore, how does this contribute to the objective? Okay, look at this. They're able to equip with comprehensive knowledge and understanding of key concepts, principles, and theories in the field of life science. It could be in the field of industry, in the field of political science. It could be in the field of dash, dash, dash. Okay, next. Can you see these? These are what am I showing you? From the words here, what are they? What are they?
They are objectives.
Yes, they commit to professional. If it was an outcome, then you would have had action verbs of students' capability because of learning. These are objectives. Okay. Now so these are examples of your program objectives. See, look at this for BSc chemistry. Is this clear? Let me give you a see this justify the central role of chemistry in society and have preparedness for lifelong learning. Now we are coming to this whole thing about writing these outcomes. Now we are looking at this second part. Look at this. They evaluate, they analyze, they describe, they summarize. These are outcomes. They evaluate, analyze, describe, and summarize for a microbiology. These are what now? What am I showing you? What am I showing you?
Outcomes.
Yeah. These are outcomes. Okay. Now, can you write. Now, these were for program. I am asking you to write for a course that you are teaching, one outcome. One outcome for that particular course that you are teaching, using the action verbs. Okay, I'm stopping to share and I want to hear from you, either in the chat or unmute. For the course you are teaching, write one outcome.
Ma'am, course outcome we'll write. Okay.
Yes, course outcome. For example, macroeconomics or nuclear physics course. One outcome.
Measure the growth of microbial population in a specified time period by various methods.
Very good, Samanat madam, very good. Compare digestive systems of vertebrates and this. Okay. Sonali madam, all natural resources of chemical, which is the verb? Now, Ravi Shri, sorry, demonstrate their understanding. How do they demonstrate their understanding is an objective. But how do they demonstrate that understanding? Use a verb there. Able to select a method, correct. Now, enable Dr. Sanchita. Enable learners to understand entrepreneurship is not an outcome, it is an objective. But when they are able to explain entrepreneurship, it's an outcome. When they cite examples of entrepreneurships, it's an outcome. Similarly, I want to be able to go up to, what is sir's name? Ravi Shri, sir. Ravi Shri Mishra, sir. Yes. Can you modify that? Yeah, when they are able to, Ganesh, sir, when they implement what? Of internal construction where?
In a industrialistic company.
Okay, so they are able to implement the scheme of internal
internal reconstruction.
Okay, then it is a implement is that verb, and to where they are implementing also you have specified, correct. Now, Sanchita madam, I cleared that. Na? They distinguish between, okay, demonstrate the understanding how. Ravi Shri sir, you will change that now. Mustaqim, Dr. Mustaqim, give importance of green chemistry. Could they then, yeah, or they state the importance of? Mustaqim, sir?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Yeah. They explain use of complex numbers in electric circuits. Good. They describe pathogenesis as of a disease. Okay, great. Where are the rest? Raju Kurian, Renu Khandelwal, madam, Swati Bhatt, Pooja Fernandez. Okay, let me move further. I'm waiting to see these names. Understand, no. Who is Sikhu 1979? They're able to understand elements of financial statements. Instead of that, would they be able to identify or state the various elements?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, understood.
Now, develop, Zara Khan, can you change this? This is an objective. What you said, I wrote is correct. I'm asking you to an outcome. Verb, use karke write that. Zara, madam?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll do that. Thank you. Then they're able to identify and classify plants, correct. Okay.
A student is able to develop a procedure after learning conventional experiment.
Okay, great. Yes. Next, express their viewpoints. Great. Relate concepts. Very good. Sonia, thank you. Next. So now did you see what is a course objective, a course outcome, sorry? Yes. Now your course outcomes will have some outcomes from remembering, some from analyzing, some from understanding, some from creating. Clear? As far as possible, you will try and write course outcomes They're able to suggest, very good. I'm telling you, you all are a very nice, bright, and very well interacting group. I'm so happy. Okay, so I am sure each of you would be able to write at least 4 course outcomes possible, which are broad.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah said yes. Thank you. Others also. Ruxana said yes. Rita, you raised your hand. Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am, I had a query.
Yes,
So when we are making course outcomes, let's say we have 3 units. So
I don't know if
for
it's a problem
each
with mine. I'm not
unit,
able to get
the course outcome should be at all the levels or all the 4 units.
and it should be representing all the units. Correct? Am I clear?
Ma'am, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the question was, when we are creating COs, or course object outcomes, we are looking at, let's say, 3 units in one course.
Yeah.
So at all the levels, for each unit, there should be course outcomes, or
not necessary. See, usually our introductory unit and all that beginning one, you use your judgment. Not all levels for each unit, but each unit should be represented as an outcome.
All right, got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, anybody else? Each unit should be represented, but not necessary that every level for each unit. Okay, because see, sometime when you write a higher level, it automatically takes care of the lower level. For example, if I am able to justify, which means I have a knowledge base. Okay, so that comes automatically. Okay, any other question before I move? So this was bright and this was very nicely, quickly. So you will have to remember that you have no choice, but you will have to write these outcomes, whether you are autonomous or non-autonomous. If you want to show how your assessment is sensible, how your assessment is based on certain form of logic and theory, your assessment has to be based on outcomes. And outcomes, therefore, are essential for every course. Whether the university writes or not, you at your level have to write. Now, when you are writing yours, to see that you are along the right lines, one tip I always say is start with at the end of the course, the student is able to. This is because it's a program outcome, I wrote graduate. If it is a course outcome, write student is able to. Then you put a semicolon and start with the action verb. For those, do you have Hindi and Marathi? If you have to write for languages, then the order goes a little different when you write it in Hindi and Marathi. But verb hona jaruri hai. Clear? Do you have Hindi department or language department?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so for them, you may not start with the action verb, especially in the Indian languages, but verb hona jaruri hai. Clear? Now, for example, we see like this is an example of a college, that is the Samayas. They had put illustrate, compare, explain theories of chemical bonding. Okay, so this is just to show you that it's representative of the modules. Now look at this. Because there's an objective, you have to be able to find relation between your program outcomes and your course outcome. Now look at this course outcome. They illustrate behavior of real gases and measure properties of liquid. You know where I am? Down. Can you see my cursor dancing?
Yes.
Yeah. Now see, properties of liquid to solve real life problems like liquefaction of gases, treatment of oil spills, etc. Now, this would be related to an outcome or to an objective where they apply knowledge. Can you see the yellow one highlighted? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you see there is a relationship? This is only one we have chosen to show. Because they are able to apply, Therefore, you see an outcome is like this. And therefore, even a course outcome for a particular course is like this. Now, some of the objectives may not come in every course. Like in every course, I may not have critical thinking, research, logical, everything. But over the 3 years, somewhere or the other, it should come. So remember that you should have well-defined objectives. Okay. You should have well-defined course outcomes. Ensure that they are in alignment with your vision mission. NAC also asks, how do you realize the vision mission of your institution? Doesn't that question come? Yes, doesn't that come? Yes or no?
I didn't follow.
Yes, ma'am, it's there.
I said that even, somebody said it's there. Even in the NAC, etc., we have to justify how our vision mission is realized. How do we realize it? Through our program objectives and through our different courses. Okay. And course outcomes, remember, it should be measurable. Now, I want to show you this. Can you see I teach at a Master of Education course, an MEd. Over 2 years, we have 18 courses and we have 4 semesters. 18 courses because some are optional, some are core courses, etc., compulsory. So what I did is all my course outcomes are here and these are my objectives. And then what I do is I'm able to see course 1 contributes to the knowledge base of education. Now, all the courses will contribute to knowledge. But you see some courses, like course 1 is a course on philosophy of education. So that philosophy course may not really directly contribute to the research skills is what I think. Okay, because of the way in which I teach it. But the research time objective is catered to in my course 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, and 18. Okay, this is what we call as our mapping. Now, how do I say high, low, and etc.? There is a way in which I calculate that. Now, that is probably at the next level that we could look at it. But this is how it is. I just wanted to show you that this is how we are able to map, and you should be able to justify. And even at Bombay University during our NAC, each department, we ask them to prepare these kind of maps to show how teaching, learning, assessment are a planned activity at our institute, at our departments, and how do we realize our outcomes and how our assessments are in alignment with our outcomes. This is how we had done it for this. Okay, anything else? And I promise to leave you all at 5:30. Any questions? Did you get some clarity, some understanding?
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, when we are saying that we have to cater to the needs of all types of learners, is there any specific ratio of higher and lower order questions?
But that in assessment time.
Yeah, okay.
That ma'am will tell in that. But when we are writing outcomes, we are writing different types represented. Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Samana?
Yes, madam. I just wanted to ask, how do we frame statements for program outcomes for value inculcation, leadership, discipline? In what way the statement can be framed?
Okay, I thought I showed you all some examples of that. Even in that book, that UGC thing, they also have given, but we modify that to our context. Now, for example, let me share again. I thought I had done it, but I will do it again. Just give me a minute. Did you see this? This is one way of doing it. I'm not saying it's the best.
These are okay.
On top for the objectives. That's what you were asking, no?
Yeah, these are more with respect to skills. For
now
discipline,
values, for
value
example.
inculcation.
Yeah, let's go to the value thing. See, multiculturalism is a value, if you would like to put it that way, or if I want to put it as develop values of, you know, brotherhood, humanity, secularism, etc., then I would say probably you use different ways, but we would be able to say is develop in them the necessary knowledge base for a value-based living, or we would, or for a life, or to knowledge base that would guide students to anchor their lives on values of secularism, democracy, brotherhood, equality, and whatever words you want to.
So it will be more in a way of objective, putting objective.
Yes, it's an objective.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And an outcome could be shown for that is when they are able to justify the need for democratic societies. Even in sciences, when they are able to realize, okay, how the need for probably, or the need for environmental sustainable practices to be adopted.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so from my side, I'm done unless there's something from y'all.
Ma'am, I had one question.
Yes, Asiya.
Wouldn't it be a tough task for a teacher to assess every student individually, or how can we manage this mapping, whether we've achieved that sort of an outcome when you complete the syllabus student-wise? Wouldn't it be tough along with normal teaching?
No, Baba. So what we are
Hello?
doing is, yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Bola.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Asiya. So Vinod sir is saying something, or should I mute, sir?
No, mute me.
Okay. So see, when we are talking, we are not saying individually. We are anyway taking exams at the end, correct? Plus, we are doing internal assessments as well.
Right.
We are rating them based on their projects, etc. Correct? Now, this is the calculation of attainment. We are mapping to see a relationship as to how we are reaching such, like, for example, how do we reach values? It is through individual courses. How do I reach this? Through these particular courses. But when I am able to calculate, I am not calculating individual students per outcome. I am going to, when I'm saying calculating attainment, that is later on for you all. I don't think in a non-autonomous, we all have to calculate that. But even if you have to calculate as a good practice, we take the written exam score and we take our exit feedback. We take their project work. So there are direct assessments and indirect assessments. So all that you are doing, it's only you put it down into these different headings. And then you are able to say, therefore, assessment is important. You are able to say students have developed confidence in communication is because you are developing a rubric to assess their communication skills during their presentation.
Okay.
Because you're giving an opportunity for assessment during field work, community engagement. These tell you certain soft skills that students have developed and take those marks for indirect attainment of the course outcomes. So it's not additional work. Additional work is only to know the formula for calculation and to keep every detail as an opportunity to assess and show demonstrated change in behavior of your student. Even a reflective diary that they write. Grade that. Have
Okay.
a rubric for that. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, ma'am, for your guidance. I hope everyone has benefited from it. Now, I would like to call Vinod Panchal sir for a vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Academic Improvement Committee and IQAC of Royal College, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Sybil Thomas for an informative and engaging session on the topic outcome-based education. Ma'am, today's session will immensely help our teacher in following outcome-based teaching and also to adopt more progressive pedagogy so that we can deliver best education to our student. Thank you very much, ma'am. Dear participant, we will like to you should fill the feedback form, which will be posted in the WhatsApp group. Zoom link. So kindly make sure that you fill the feedback form. I think we can end the session here.
So thank you all, and thank you, Dr. Chitra, for your patient follow-up constantly. And if you have anything else in the last session, maybe I could address that with Dr. Vivian.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, and I'll
Thank
leave
you, ma'am.
now. Thank you. Meet you all sometime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.